There is a specific kind of afternoon that almost nobody has anymore. You know the one. You are not doing anything in particular. You are somewhere that is not home and not work. Somewhere you go because you want to, not because you have to. And you have been going there long enough that someone there knows your name, or at least your order, or at least your face. And there is no agenda, no productivity, no reason to be there except that you like being there. And the afternoon passes, and you feel not stimulated, not entertained, just replenished. If you are struggling to remember when you last had that afternoon, you are not alone, and you are not lazy, and it is not a character flaw. Something was taken from you before you were old enough to know what it was called. In 1989, a sociologist at the University of West Florida named Ray Oldenburg published a book called The Great Good Place. He was trying to name something that everyone had experienced but nobody had found the right words for. He called it the third place. Not home, that is the first place. Not work, that is the second place. The third place is everything else. The cafe where they know your order. The pub where you sit in the same corner. The barbershop where the conversation picks up mid-sentence from last time. The park bench where you see the same dog walker every Tuesday morning. The library where nobody needs a reason to be there. Oldenburg studied these spaces for most of his academic life, and what he found was not that they were nice to have. He found that they were the mechanism by which human beings practiced being together, the place where you learned to share space with someone who voted differently from you, ordered differently from you, lived completely differently from you, and somehow found that you could still sit at the same table. He called this the training ground of democracy, and he was not being poetic. He was describing a function, a civic function, that required a physical space to operate in. And then, quietly, over the course of about 40 years, that space disappeared. Here is what the data shows. In 2024, the British Beer and Pub Association reported 6 pub closures every single week across England and Wales. In 2025, that accelerated to 1 pub closing every single day. Not 1 a week, 1 a day. Since 2000, more than 15,000 pubs have permanently closed across the United Kingdom. In the United States, the American Booksellers Association counted over 4,000 member stores in the early 1990s. By the 2000s, that number had been cut in half. Bowling centers declined by 32% between 2005 and 2023, which is quietly one of the most important statistics in all of this research, because bowling is not the point. The bowling league is the point. Think about what the bowling league actually was. It was not about bowling. It was 2 hours every Tuesday, where you argued about handicaps with someone you would never have chosen as a friend. And somehow, by the end of the season, you had one. That is what disappeared. A Harvard sociologist named Robert Putnam documented this collapse in a book called Bowling Alone, published in the year 2000. Let me explain what social capital means before I give you his numbers. Social capital is a plain term for something simple, the trust that builds between people who keep showing up in the same place. The kind of trust you cannot manufacture, the kind that accumulates slowly over repeated low-stakes encounters with the same faces. Putnam found that between 1965 and 2000, civic participation in America collapsed across virtually every measurable category: volunteering, league membership, political participation. The average number of associational memberships fell by a quarter over the last decades of the 20th century. A 2025 peer-reviewed study found that all categories of third places experienced widespread closures between 2019 and 2021 alone. And the research found this too. People living in communities with fewer third places reported lower social trust, less political engagement, and a diminished sense of belonging. Not as a feeling, as a measurement. The place was doing something, and when it closed, the something stopped. I want to tell you about Starbucks, because it is the most honest case study in this entire story. And the honesty is not in the building of the thing, it is in the breaking of it, and the admitting of what was broken. When Howard Schultz built the company, he had a specific vision. He wanted Starbucks to be the third place between work and home, seats designed for lingering, music chosen for atmosphere, the comfortable in-between, and for a while, it worked. Nurses before a shift, students between lectures, friends who needed somewhere that wasn't anyone's apartment. It was an imperfect third place, commercial at its core, but a third place nonetheless. And then something changed. Mobile ordering arrived. You could order before you got there, pick up without stopping, be in and out in 90 seconds. Efficient, frictionless. The seating began to shrink. Comfortable chairs replaced with hard wooden stools. Some stores removed seating entirely. By 2022, more than 70% of Starbucks sales came from mobile app and drive-thru. The company closed 400 centrally located walkable urban stores and promised to outfit 90% of new locations with drive-thrus. Its leaders said nobody wanted to sit in a Starbucks anymore. And then they made sure nobody ever would. In 2024, Howard Schultz himself posted an open letter on LinkedIn, calling for the company to return to form. He wrote an op-ed in the Harvard Business Review titled, "How Starbucks Devalued Its Own Brand." And in 2025, the new CEO, Brian Niccol, stood up on an earnings call and said the mobile-only model was overly transactional and lacking the warmth and human connection that defines our brand. The company is now spending $150 million trying to bring the third place back. Chairs, handwritten names on cups, spaces designed for staying, not just passing through. I find this remarkable, not as a business story, but as a confession. One of the largest companies in the world dismantled the third place, watched what happened without it, and then spent $150 million trying to remember what they had taken away. Think about what happened in the third place, before it closed. You walked in as a stranger. You sat near someone you had nothing obvious in common with. You were both slightly awkward for the first minute or two, and then something small happened. A comment about the weather, a raised eyebrow at a news headline, a dog that walked past the window, and suddenly you were talking. Not performing, not optimizing, just talking. And by the time you left, you did not know their last name. You might never see them again, but something had passed between you that is almost impossible to manufacture in any other way. A small, quiet confirmation that strangers can be trusted, that the world is slightly less threatening than it appeared this morning, that you are not as alone in it as you sometimes feel. And when the third place closes, you do not immediately notice what is missing. You notice it slowly, in the quality of a Tuesday afternoon, in the specific flatness of a Sunday that has nowhere to go, in the reaching for a phone in a moment that used to be filled with something else, something that did not have a screen.